Good morning. Can everyone hear me? I am going to actually do this introduction in English. It's an international conference, and so I thought it made sense to start out that way. I'm going to just do a very brief introduction with a couple of thematic ideas, and then a bunch of housekeeping, practical information, and many thank yous for our different funders, etc. Perfect for the topic of the conference. And I wanted to start actually with a short story of sorts. At the tail end, there's a conference going on at the Philharmonic today and yesterday. There's many conferences happening this weekend, actually, but yesterday at the end of a roundtable at the Philharmonic conference on creative processes, the composer Bruno Montevani, who is well known in France, he's the director of the conservatory here in Paris, he was asked about the role of religion in contemporary music today. And his answer, which he meant as a joke, was that composers now pray to the state because that's where the commissions are. Great. I don't want to imply, of course, that the church being no longer a prime patron for the arts is what accounts for the high rates of atheism, even though that might be a little less crazy than it sounds. But this quote actually allows me to reflect and start a discussion on the byline that we proposed for this conference, which is follow the money, as you may recall from the call for papers. And so the questions are, what does money do in art worlds? What are its effects, intended or not? And when I read the papers and the abstracts that you all will be presenting today and tomorrow, it became obvious that not all money is equal. Depending on its source and how it travels through the art world, it has different effects. Some money is tainted, as we will certainly see in Olav's keynote lecture, which will look at fortunes made in dubious fashions and how and why they circulate in the art world. Money can be honestly earned, but nonetheless be seen as dirty. In the case of highbrow arts or pure or autonomous arts in more Bourdieuian terms, money that comes from commercial success can tarnish the reputation of an artist. Clean money, quote, in this case, could be seen as coming from the state or from nonprofit organizations, which are meant to help artists who do not encounter success on the market. And these types of funding mechanisms, specifically the role of bureaucrats and performing arts managers, will be investigated in the panel on bureaucracy tomorrow afternoon. And of course, all of these financial transactions have at least two sides, and thereby the organization or individual who provides the funds does not come out the same either. Their reputations can be elevated or sullied by their acquisitions or their patronage, and sometimes these effects can be instrumentalized. And the role of corporations in this sense is evocative. We will have a panel tomorrow on corporate arts spending, and that will show us how it can indirectly, hopefully, according to some, increase the productivity of workers. That's the case of industrial patronage in the 1950s, how it can fulfill marketing or finance functions, or take up the slack of a perceived lack in government funding. So all this to say that money takes on meaning as it circulates. Its past determines its effects and the uses that will be made of it. And the way money circulates can also be an inspiration for art itself, not just in practical terms as a stimulus for creation, but also as part of its content. I'm hoping that Julie Fortier will talk more about that. She's the one who generously provided the images for our conference material, and she will be discussing her work in the roundtable tomorrow. Other examples will be addressed shortly in this morning's first panel, where we will see how money can open up possibilities, but in doing so necessarily closes off others. So money, its amount, its source, its use, is one of the many signaling devices available in the art world for understanding and creating meaning. The way we evaluate the work of artists, the way they evaluate themselves, is informed by the perception of how and why they receive the money they do. And this will be the subject of tomorrow's panel on inspiration and disinterestedness. We grant money agency, and we allow it to determine our interpretation of the work artists do, and artists also bring it into their toolbox of inspiration. It is often money that makes us evaluate art in the first place. To distribute money, peer review panels are organized, auctions are held, and galleries showcase and promote artists. Money demands evaluation because it is finite, and evaluative practices determine the borders of art worlds. The way these distributive mechanisms are organized affects the content of the work created. A festival, for instance, has a distinct identity and resources, and therefore provides a specific platform for works created in that context, as we will see later today in the panel devoted to them. One can also expect different results if an artist is provided with a regular salary or if she is funded on a project basis, which is the norm in contemporary society, although this was not always the case in history. And the work concept is at the center of a project-based funding system, and we will have a chance to investigate the implications of this in the panel on commissioning. So that's a very rapid overview of some of the issues that we will be discussing, hopefully, over the next 2 days. But since we're talking about money, we have to figure out how we all got here and who's paying for the croissants and the coffee. So if we're going to follow the money in that sense, the coffee, croissant, the sandwiches, tonight's sangria, this can all be traced back to the Erasmus Research Center at the Sorbonne, which is itself financed by the Ministry for Culture and the National Library. I'm basically giving you the legend to understand the logos on the bottom of the conference program now. Your travel and lodging can be credited to the Sierra, which has a distinctly international, specifically Franco-German focus. The CRAL Research Center here at the EHESS can be thanked for bringing our keynote speaker here and lodging him. And we also benefit from the expert work of Seto Momoko, who's filming the proceedings today, thanks to the CRAL. Paris 1, the University Paris 1 provided the lovely programs and posters, and Julie Fortier graciously provided the images for them. And the people who chased all of this funding down were a team of 3, myself and these 2 incredibly smart, wonderful women in front. They staged sit-ins in administrative offices to get these institutions to cough up the money they had promised us, made hard decisions regarding the programming, put together 2 fantastic roundtables, which I think will be fascinating, and they found the resources necessary to put all of this together. So a tremendous thanks to them, as well as to the members of the scientific committee and those who accepted to moderate sessions over the next 2 days. A couple of words of housekeeping, just some practical details. Tonight's dinner, the details are on the 2nd page of the program booklet, which is the large, the thing that Marion is holding up here. It starts at 7:30. Originally, we were going to have a projection by Olga Kiseleva as well, but she canceled 2 days ago, so we'll just have an aperitif with no projection, and that will also be lovely, and it's at the restaurant that's marked in the booklet. One other cancellation is the roundtable tomorrow. Christine Vidal will not be able to join us. And so for today, coffee breaks and lunch are upstairs in room 4, which most of you have now found. And please don't forget that tomorrow we are not at the EHESS, we are at the Maison de la Recherche, which is part of the Sorbonne. And the information and the address is also in the booklet. And for those of you whose travel and lodging is being paid for, please give me your receipts and your tickets over the next couple of days and mail the ones that you can't give me yet because you're using them to get home, and make sure your name is on them. And a word regarding languages. I want everyone to feel comfortable to express themselves in French or English as you feel comfortable. And if a translation is necessary, we will definitely make that possible. All the panels have at least one bilingual member, so I think it will be fine. So I look forward to discussions in both languages. And on that, I will call Marion to the front and the members of the first panel, and I want to thank all of you for being here.